Good morning, everyone. Let us invite Shri Mataji into our hearts for our morning meditation. First, we'll bow down to her, raise our Kundalini, and put it on a bandhan. Let's listen and enjoy the Maha mantras.
त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी सरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुंडलिनी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री सहस्रार स्वामिनी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः।
Now let us invite Shri Ganesha onto our chakras by taking one mantra to Shri Ganesha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. With With our attention on Sahasrara, we can listen to the Shri Ganesha Atavashesha. प्रदं च वरदं हस्तैर्बिभ्रणं उषध्वजम् रक्तं लम्बोदरं शूर्पाकर्णकं रक्तवाससं रक्तगन्धनुलिप्ताङ्गं रक्तपुष्पैः सुपूजितं भक्तानुकम्पिनं देवं जगत्कारणम् अच्युतम् आविर्भूतं च सृष्टयादो प्रकृते पुरुषात् परम् एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं सह योगी योगिनां वरः नमो व्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्ते अस्तु लम्बोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय श्रीवरदामूर्तये नमो नमः साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः. Now, with our Muladhara nicely settled, I'll be putting on a talk from 1976 in Delhi, India, and this is called Description of Kundalini. I'll not play it all, but I'll post it and you can listen to it all later.
Honorable Justice Tatachari and the citizens of Delhi, the Sahajogis, we are now at a juncture of history where it has become imminent that we have to prove the existence of divine power. We have read about this all-pervading power. In our Shastras, there has been elaborate descriptions about the divine power flowing through us, through each and every particle that is being manifested in this universe. But so far, very few people have been able to enter into the realm of divinity, to feel that divine power. Those were born at such a higher level that they could not communicate with the rest of the people. They only sang the songs of divinity which was carried to the people who never felt the existence of that divine power, which those people felt it like reality. It has been, as I have told you before, a search of human beings to jump into infinity. But the finite rationality and understanding, the buddhi of human being could not permeate into the infinity. So the whole thing became such a mechanical process. The religions lost their significance. and people could not believe in the talk of religions or divine power. But the time has come for people to have amas, entry into the kingdom of God, to feel His existence, throbbing, being within themselves. As she told you, in 1970, I realized that human beings are not even awakened seed. And that's why all the mistake has been committed, because those who were born on the 10th story could not explain to people who were not even in the first story. When I got this human realization and the reasons why this was happening, I started working on various people and found out their problems on the path of their awakening. In doing so, within 2 years' time, I was hardly able to give realization, or I should say the people could realize, only to 12 people. And it was a very hard task, because the people who came to me were not so much attracted. They felt, what is the proof that there is divine power beyond us? But when they realized, and when they started getting the vibrations from their fingertips, the vibrations which we call Chaitanya Lahari, by which they became Nirvikara, by which they started curing other people, by which they started giving awakening to other people and giving them realization, it became a proof with them that they have reached self-actualization. It is a truth. It is not falsehood. It is not any propaganda. It has to happen within you. You cannot give false certificate to anybody that it has happened. It has to happen fully into you, and you have to feel it that it has happened. And when you use it, you know it has happened. The other day you have seen the rising of the Kundalini with your naked eyes. Some of you have never even known the word Kundalini. But you have seen the throbbing of the Kundalini, how it rose and how it came up through the spine. When the Kundalini rises, you actually can see the movement of Kundalini. There have been many people who have been talking of Kundalini awakening. Actually, none of them who say so have shown the rising of the Kundalini. The reason being, the Kundalini never rose. The Kundalini only rises when there is somebody who is already enlightened and who knows the job of rising the Kundalini. So they have described that by raising the Kundalini, you actually become very heated up, or sometimes you start dancing, sometimes you start shouting, and sometimes you get blisters all over your body. The way they have described Kundalini, one would think that it is better to remain as you are than to go into such kind of a ordeal where you get completely finished and fagged out. Kundalini is your mother, and she rests in the triangular bone which is placed higher than Muladhara Chakra. The triangular bone is known as the Muladhara. You all know Sanskrit and you know what is the meaning of Muladhara. She rests there and those who try to incite her from the wrong side, Sri Ganesha, who is sitting on the Muladhara chakra, gets angry. And that anger is expressed, which people say that the Kundalini is angry. The Kundalini will never rise. She knows your problems. She loves you. She is the only mother you have, and she has been with you for ages, for many lives. So she doesn't rise at all. She stays there. Only Sri Ganesha gets angry because he's supposed to look after the chastity of your mother, the protocol of your mother. Now, whether there is Sri Ganesha or not, we start from that. This is from the scratch one has to start. People say that they have seen Sri Ganesha symbol inside the bee. Whether there is Sri Ganesha or not can be verified in Sahaja. Because when you find somebody suffering like that, you have to request to Sri Ganesha that please don't be angry. The person has done it in his ignorance and he listens to you. Immediately you find such a person becomes cooled down. His blisters disappear and he feels very much comforted. Last time in Delhi, if you remember, there was one man who came rushing to me. First he had gone to Bombay and then came back again to Delhi. He was a resident of Delhi and he told me that somebody has excited his Kundalini. And he was running all over the place, helter-skelter, shouting, "What heat, what heat," as if lots of wasps have bitten him. I asked him, "How did you get your awakening? Who was the man who did it?" And he told me, and it was such a hideous method that decency prohibits me to talk about that. And when I saw that, I told him that how can you believe that God can be achieved through such hideous and useless methods? And he was a very educated man. Then I asked Sri Ganesh that please forgive, because he doesn't know. He's an ignorant person. And somebody who tried to take some money out of him or who tried to show off his knowledge has played with his Kundalini. So please excuse him. And there are so many people who have witnessed that immediately he cooled down and he was all right. All the deities that are on your Kundalini, whether they are there or not, because somebody has written, because somebody has said it, because they are in the Shastras also, why should we accept? Because a rational man doesn't want to accept it. Your children are not going to accept it. We can prove the existence of Sri Ganesh. In the same way we can prove the existence of all these deities that are on the chakras that are within human spine. Now to say of Indian culture and Hindu culture and Muslim culture and other cultures, it is more surprising that Kundalini, or we can say the primordial Kundalini of the Virata, has got all these great incarnations, whether they were Muslims, whether they were Christians, whether they were Indians, seated on the chakras. For example, if you start from the Muladhara chakra upward, then we have got on the second chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, Shri Brahmadeva, who is the creative power, creative aspect of God. And his power is Saraswati. You have seen that in Delhi, you all were caught up with Swadhisthana chakra. All of you have got this problem of Swadhisthana chakra, because Delhi is a place where we are planning too much. And the power of planning, the power of future thinking comes from Swadhisthana chakra. And that's why many of you are caught up with Swadhisthana chakra. The third chakra, which is known as the Nabhi chakra, actually it is known as Manipur chakra, rests above these triangular bone, and it controls the solar plexus in the gross form in the human beings. And this is the chakra which represents our dharma, our religion. Now when I talk of religion, immediately the modern mind will get after me, saying that, what are you talking of these, out of these things? When I say dharma, I mean dharayati sadharma. You see, human beings have got certain religion, as everything has got religion. For example, you take a mango from the mango tree. If you plant it, you get the mango. Or else, you can see, as I told you yesterday, that a gold bangle is gold because it is not tarnishable. That is the dharma of gold. The water has got purification, dharma. In the same way, a human being has got his own dharma, which is expressed in the Bible as 10 commandments. These are 10 dharmas a human being is born with. He is born with it. But he has to establish himself into dharma. When he has to go into dharmati state, he is beyond that. But these 10 must be established. If these are not established, we cannot play about with them. If you play about with them, there is a problem in your awakening and in your realization. The Nabhi Chakra is the most important one, and there rests the great incarnation, or we can say the aspect of God, which we call as Narayana himself, Shri Vishnu, and his power is Shri Lakshmi. Vishnu represents the sustenance, the dharma aspect of God. And Vishnu is responsible for the evolution of human beings. We never find out why an amoeba has become a human being. What has made him come up to the level of a human being? And what is going to happen to this human being after all? Why is he made a human being? You are made for some purpose. What is going to happen to this human being afterwards? We never think of that. This evolutionary power comes to us through Shri Vishnu himself. Shri Vishnu is not Hindu's God. He doesn't belong to India. He doesn't belong to one particular state or one particular area. He belongs in the primordial being, in the great primordial being whom we call, as Islam they call it, Allahu Akbar. He is the expression of that primordial being who is great. God has many aspects, and one of the aspects is of his greatness. And that's why, as Vishnu, he wants us to be great. Yesterday I told you that the body of Virata contains everything that he manifests, and we have to realize that we are a part and parcel of that great Virata, and that we are in the process of realizing him because we are made in the image of God. Then comes the most important part of our body, is the stomach. It represents the Bhavasagara, is the Maya in which we are placed. We are born in this Bhavasagara when Shri Vishnu himself incarnates again and again. You have seen as Matsyavatara, Kurmavatara, and he himself leads the human beings in their evolutionary path. He is held by another deity whom we call as primordial Guru, the Adi Guru, Dattatreya. Shri Vishnu rises from Bhavasagara and gives you the leadership to rise within yourself. He builds up your awareness step by step, and today you are as a human being. In your being itself, he creates two more chakras. One on the Hridaya chakra, and above that is the Vishuddhi chakra, which is placed here, which is called as the complete incarnation of Shri Krishna. At the Vishuddhi chakra, Shri Vishnu completes his incarnation. He is the complete Virata. He is represented here in the Vishuddhi chakra. Whether he is there or not, you can find out when the Kundalini is awakened. On the left hand side, of the Virata in the heart resides Shiva himself. Shiva is the symbol of God's aspect of existence. It is Shiva who makes the whole manifestation to exist. And when he doesn't like the show, when he doesn't like the play, he switches off. That's why he is also known as a destroyer. If he likes it, if it is moving in the right direction, he continues to watch the show, but if he doesn't like it, he just switches off. So there are three aspects of God we have seen. One is of his sthiti, existence, another of his creativity by Brahmadeva, and the third one, which is the evolutionary, but which is based on dharma itself. One person can have three attitudes, can have three aspects. God has many more aspects, but the aspects that are manifested are these three. Now these three aspects, the essence of these aspects, or we can say the innocence of these three aspects, is combined in the primordial Guru or the Adi Guru Dattatreya, who resides in the Bhavasagara and helps Shri Vishnu for your evolution. Now he has taken many incarnations, mainly 10 incarnations, and these are very important and we have to understand them in their full entirety. If you accept him as Dattatreya, you have to also accept him as Raja Janaka. It's easy for a Hindu mind to accept Raja Janaka, but they cannot accept Muhammad Sahib, who was the same as Raja Janaka. It is a fact which we can prove it on your Kundalini. A person who is suffering from cancer of the stomach. Now this is the thing, when I say that Sahaja Yoga can cure your cancer, you have to give up certain notions that we have in our head. A person, supposing he is a Hindu, and he is suffering from the stomach cancer, I have to ask him to take the name of Muhammad. If I fail to ask him, or if I do not convince him, I cannot cure his cancer. I'm sorry, I tell him I just cannot do it. But if he is a Muslim, I have to tell him, you have to take the name of the Sat. Human beings, like fools, have taken away the living flowers of one tree and now are fighting on something that is dead. He was Dattatreya. There is no doubt about it. And his daughter Fatima was nobody else but Sita Janaki herself. And her two sons, Hassan and Hussein, were nobody else but Lava and Kusha. They were born again and again. They were born as Mahavira and Buddha. And then they were born as Hassan and Hussein. It is only possible through Sahaja Yoga to realize that this is the truth. This is the fact. He was born as Nanaka, and Nanaki was nobody else but Janaki. In Nanaka's life he has expressed. Of course, I don't know how many people have read about Nanaka. Nanaka one day was sleeping and his feet were towards Kaaba. And people were getting vibrations from that side. So they said, what are you doing? Your feet are towards Kaaba. So he said, all right, I'll turn my feet on the other side. And they started getting vibrations from the other side. They said, what? Kaaba has moved or what? He has, in a way, shown. But how dare they say many things? When they said very few things, they have killed all these people and tortured. If you read Muhammad Sahab's life, you will feel what foolish people we have been, the way we have tortured. For fanaticism, the way he was killed actually was poisoned. He had no place where to hide his head the way people were after him, because he was telling the truth. And fanaticism is one thing he fought. So Guru Tattva is killed as soon as you become a fanatic person. Your Guru Tattva is immediately finished as soon as you take to fanaticism of any kind. You come up now to the heart chakra.
We'll leave that there and let us all now settle down into a quiet meditation for a few minutes.
देव महादेव देव 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 देव महादेव त्रिनयन नीलकण्ठ त्रिनयन नीलकण्ठ अर्धांगी गौरीपति अर्धांगी गौरीपति पशुपते नमो शिवं देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव महादेव 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 देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव 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 महादेव देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव आदि नहीं अंत नहीं 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 दसारे गारे सदा मद सद मगरे रे सरे ग मगरे सा ग मद दसा दसरि मद स ग मद रे सा आदि नहीं अंत नहीं आदि नहीं अंत नहीं व्याघ्रा पर विश्वनाथ व्याघ्रा पर विश्वनाथ जटा में विराजे गंग जटा में विराजे गंग सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं शिवं सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं शिवं देव देव महादेव 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 देव देव दत मद गम रे गम सरि ग रे गम 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 गरि सा देव 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 सा समाम गगमम गमदद मद सा सा रे सा द म ग रे गम गरि सा देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव 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 महादेव देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव त्रिनयन नीलकण्ठ त्रिनयन नीलकण्ठ अर्धांगी गौरीपति अर्धांगी गौरीपति पशुपदे नमो शिवं देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव 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 महादेव देव 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 महादेव त्रिनयन नीलकण्ठ अर्धांगी गौरीपति पशुपते नमो शिवं देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव आदि नहीं अंत नहीं आदि नहीं अंत नहीं व्याघ्र पर भीषणात् जटा में विराजे गंग सत्यं शिवं सुंदरं शिवं देव देव महादेव देव देव महादेव देव 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 महादेव देव 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 महादेव देव महादेव
In that beautiful state of meditation, with the cool vibrations flowing through your hands, and quietness in the mind, let us finish up with the last of the three great mantras. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Saraswara Swaminini Mokshat Pradainini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. When you're ready, please offer our beautiful thanks to Shri Mataji for taking us into a state of beautiful meditation. Let us bow down to her, raise our Kundalini and put on a bandhan. I'll play some music for another few minutes if you are still in deep meditation. Jai Shri Mataji.
È come un incantesimo, ti percepisco dentro me. Spolveri i miei fiori, li copri di fresca rugiada. Mi accarezzi dolcemente, mi fai sentire tutt'una con te. Libera dall'abito di terra, sono in dimensione informe. Leggiadra danzo, libera volteggio intorno a te, nell'immensità del silenzio, tutto parla solo di te, respiro silente, mi sento tutt'una con te. Estasiata rimango in silenzio, io non chiedo più nulla, immersa in gioioso amore, sono raggiante di luce, fresco respiro mi accarezzi, amore divino, occhieno spumeggianti di gioia, scolpisci nuova memoria. Leggiadra danzo, libera volteggio intorno a te, nell'immensità del silenzio, tutto parla solo di te, respiro silente, mi sento tutt'una con te, mi fai sentire tutt'una con te.
Thank you all for joining in meditation this morning. Jai Shri Mataji. Have a wonderful day.